Hey everybody, good morning. It's 11 o'clock in the morning on the 30th of December 2021. There is 1.5 trading days left in the year. And what I'd like to do today is take a look at good old Bitcoin, the S&P, take a look at NASDAQ, Oracle, Moderna, Nike, Shopify, Roku, Zoom, Tesla, Target. If there's anything in particular you want me to take a look at, just go ahead and throw those in the comments. I will do my best to take a look at everything. I've got 30, 45 minutes here that I'm going to try and take a look at some things. So again, we're going to start with Bitcoin. Before I get into any of this, of course, as you all know, this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You are responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research, and I'm just giving my opinion on the market. So let's go ahead and move on into the chart. So I'm starting here with Bitcoin. What we're trying to do is, we're trying to figure out what we're doing here. It looks like a bear flag, right? But one would argue that that is basically what it looked like was happening earlier this year in like the May time frame. This looked like a bear flag, and it did push down, went a little bit lower to finish the move, and then eventually we had the 1-2, and then we saw prices go up a little bit higher, right? So if that's going to be the case, if that's what's going to happen here, then we need to see a push down below 42,000, right? Is that going to happen? I mean, it's totally possible, 100%. It's possible that we come down here to 37,000. There's so many different alternatives to the count here, but I was, just talking to Elo earlier, Elo on the server. What we were trying to do is take a look here at what's going on with the hourly here in this local zone where we're currently at right now, and I think this probably does have the keys to what the market is actually trying to do here. So a couple things, I talk about this all the time. I always look for corrections first. And what this looks like to me, this looks like a correction. It looks like a correction that's getting close to being completed. I also see, and I'm on a 5-minute time frame here, so I realize that, looking at a 5-minute time frame isn't exactly ideal, but I'm going to continue looking for corrections. So I see another one right here, a little A, B, C. Where's another correction? One right here, A, B, C. Another thing that I can see here that I want to point out, again, also just, again, looking here at the lower time frame, we've got a nice little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that looks like it also has played out pretty well. From there, looking from down here, I can see we kind of have a 1, 2. You see, this doesn't really fit very well either. And the reason why it doesn't fit is because this wave 4 goes into the zone of wave 1, so likely that's not what that is. I will absolutely take a look at the S&P 500. I'll take a look at that as soon as I'm done here with Bitcoin. But what we're creating here, we're actually creating some bullish divergence here on the 5-minute time frame on Bitcoin. And I'm actually going to, let's see here. Give me just a moment here. Okay, there we go. I was in a position and it hit a zone, so I'm going to go ahead and get out of. I was in an Amazon play. I'm out of that now. Anyway, so yeah, again, just looking at this, I see corrections, and I'm seeing some bullish divergence here. We did not have any bullish divergence on this correction. We didn't have any on this one, but we are seeing some signs of bullish divergence down here. So I would say that we are finding some support at this level, which is basically at 47,100. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and zoom out just a little bit. This level right here is important. Again, we had support here, we had resistance here, we came back and we are retesting that now as support. So if you wanted to take a leverage long on that, low leverage, you can do that and just cut it on the opposite side of 47,100. Again, another level of interest is right here. We had support here. We had some clustering, then we had a reclaim of support there after we broke out. One could say that the more important level is right there at about 46,663, where we had support here, and then we reclaimed that as support right there. All in all, we've got some important levels of support here. So let me just go ahead and clear this out because I'm going to go back to a higher level time frame. Now that it looks like we've got signs of a good correction here, I think we can reasonably assume that what we've got from here on the bottom is a 1, 2, 3, working and finishing that 4, and then we go up for a 5. And when we do that, I'm going to go out here to a 15-minute. If we can do that, right, which means that we would need to see something that looks a little bit like this from down here in the bottom. We see another push up to that 48,000 level, which we couldn't break yesterday. We get another pullback here. Maybe it goes down a little bit deeper, but a little bit of a pullback, and then we can see prices back up above 50,000. That would be ideal. I'm still cautiously bullish, but I also understand that we can come back down here to these lower prices, which is why I am mostly playing spot. I did try some leverage, back here in these prices, and that obviously did not work out. This looked like an expanded flat at the time, but then it just continued moving down. It got stopped out, and now I'm looking to see what this is going to be doing. I still have my eyes on 53,000, right? So we did, I was talking about 52 to 54. I've been talking about that for weeks, right? We hit 52, and then we had a bigger rejection off of that. I really was expecting us to come up here to this level. I don't see any really important, resistance at 52. The important resistance is going to be at about 53 to 54. But naturally, we hit that 52. We had a swift rejection off of it. I do believe it'll go back there, but I think it's just going to take some time. Going to the hourly here, we can see we have a bearish alternative, with this being the potential for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the A, B, C. It's an extremely bearish alternative, which basically comes back down here into the 20s. I think that scenario is least likely, but I have to keep my eye on it. More likely, we're basically seeing this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then once this 4 is complete up here at 53 to 54,000, then we're probably going to come back down here to about 38. And I'm looking for 38 to hit sometime again in February, March timeframe. I think April things are going to get bullish again, but right now retail isn't here, right? I posted a link to somebody else's Twitter on the Discord earlier today, and it basically showed that there is no interest in Bitcoin from retail investors. Everybody pretty much is focused on NFTs and things like that. Nobody's really paying attention to to Bitcoin. I'm going to show a chart here, and this is basically the volume of $10 million positions. All right, so we've got the $10 million positions right here. And you can see when we came back down here to the lower prices, this was back when we were closer to 30,000. We had the volume pick up significantly when we had this move up, and we've had the volume of over $10 million was actually pretty high. Let's compare that to what retail is. So this is basically volume from anywhere between $1,000 to $10,000. Let's just go ahead and compare these, right? I'm going to put these kind of on top of each other and see if I can kind of make them a little transparent so we can see them on top of each other here. You can see there's a huge, huge difference. Look at the volume change in the lower retail buyers versus the larger institutional buyers. People that have over $10 million in volume are controlling the market right now. Retail is not here. You can see retail was actually about at the same pace as the big market buyers, and that has tapered off and it hasn't come back. Retail hasn't come back. And for that reason, okay, pay attention. For that reason, I do not believe the institutions, rather, I do not believe institutions are going to give retail that price point below 30,000 again. Okay? Because fact of the matter is, big money goes after big money for sure, but it is the influx of retail that is where big money takes money from. It happens left and right. It happens in capitalism. It happens in taxes. It happens in all different facets of our life. The little man has the money stolen from them on a regular basis. And in this particular case, it is the big money controlling the market, controlling the psychology, making you believe that the price is going to go much further down, when in fact, they already pushed the price down significantly. We went down almost to 42,000. And now we're sitting here just kind of consolidating a bit. And everybody's like, this is a bear flag. We're going to go down further. And yes, we probably will. We probably will. But I think it's going to, again, be sometime in February, March, maybe early April, but I believe it's going to be sometime in February or March. We're going to find ourselves down here about 37,000. And that's when everybody's going to say, yep, we're going to go back to 30,000. That's where I'm buying. And that's where it's basically going to bottom. And it's going to go and it's going to double in price, which is basically going to take Bitcoin to 80,000. And that's where people are going to start buying again. And you know what? That's probably going to be where we're going to consolidate. People are going to get bored. It's going to chop and then it's going to drop. And then retail is going to just go ahead and sell, lose interest again, and the market cycle just continues. Not to make a big lecture on this, but I do believe that that's what's happening here. And again, very, very likely we come back to 37,000. I think it's very unlikely we go below 30,000. And it's because of the retail that is not in the market anymore, at least in Bitcoin. All right. Anyway, enough of that. Too much of that. Let's go to the S&P. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. We are in an area right now where we are just consolidating, and just look at the last couple hours here. We have basically been wicking. I mean, honestly, this whole week has been absolute garbage. We are not doing anything substantive here. We're just moving sideways. We basically have a channel that we've been trading inside of. I can outline that for you pretty easily here. This level right here, this is our top, and we're going to go straight across. This level down here, I'd say it's probably going to be right here. This is our channel that we are trading inside of. You've got wicks to the bottom that are for buying and wicks on the top that have been for selling. The advantage that we have is we are above the median right now. So again, we've got the top, we've got the bottom, but then we've got the median right here. If we break down below that, which is going to be right here at about 47.85, I would say we're probably going to come back down to 47.75 or lower. This doesn't necessarily look like a reversal pattern to me. That's not what this looks like. To be fair, a lot of things are getting overbought. The 12-hour is way overbought here on the S&P, right? And again, this very well could revert down. So a couple things that I want to point out here. We've got this high and we've got this high. Let's just talk about this for a moment, because this is something that not a lot of people are really paying a whole lot of attention to, and they probably should. So this right here. All right, so we're just sitting up here consolidating. What if I told you that it's actually very likely that we see a move down here to approximately 47.20 before we see prices go up higher? I think it's very likely that that is probably going to be the case here, because again, we're starting to see zigzags left and right. So, you know, we were talking about this right here. So from up here, I'm just going to count them as ABC. So we've got ABC, 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 right? I think we can count that as a zigzag. All right. Then from here, right, we've got ABC, ABC, and then A, B, C. We're going to go and hit that C, but of course this is on a higher degree. What I actually think is happening here is we are in the middle of this. From this B, I think we've got the A, we're going to get the B, and it may go lower, and then we're going to get the C, again, on that lower degree. I think that's probably the most likely thing that's going to happen here in the S&P. And I also believe that when S&P goes down and when it drops, and it will drop a little bit, that's also going to coincide with when Bitcoin does its drop as well. Okay, So that's my thoughts on the S&P. I do think that we're probably going to get a rejection here. I think there's a lot of people that are starting to turn bullish, but we've got lots of options that are going to be expiring tomorrow that need to expire worthless. So it's probably just going to hang out here. Maybe it ekes itself up just a little bit after the New Year's. Next year, I believe we're going to see that drop. But before the 22nd, I think we're going to see a push up to new highs, because that push down is going to get a lot of people in puts. They're going to be in profit. They're not going to take profit, though. Then it's going to rip to the upside, and it's going to cause all these people that bought puts here, it's going to cause them to lose when the price goes up. They're going to be getting more January 21st puts. You just wait and see. It's what's going to happen. Let's see what the open interest on the S&P looks like right now, because this is very interesting to me, and I keep an eye on this. If you haven't already noticed, let me decrease the transparency on this so we can see this a little bit better. Here's the S&P. We are 65% bearish right now. Yesterday, 59% were bullish. Okay, so both calls and puts are being absolutely destroyed this week. So all these people that got calls and puts right now, they're probably underwater. They're probably not really profitable at all at the moment. But still, 65% tomorrow are bearish. That's 3 million contracts that are bearish going into tomorrow. Likely, they're not going to be making any money. Then we have 71%, 4.5 million contracts on January 21st are bearish, and they are also likely going to lose, right? Which means we're either going to just kind of stay stagnating sideways, which is not likely for the better part of a month, but probably we're going to get that pullback, right? Because fact of the matter is, a lot of these people got these puts all the way back here, right? Very few got it up here. We're going to get that pullback, but then I believe what we're going to see is lots of support right here, because again, look left, we've got resistance here, and again, it could come down a little bit more. This little zone right here, this is our little sweet spot, and that goes into January 4th. Very, very likely. This area right here, we're going to see a bit of a bounce, but again, before the 21st, I believe we're going to go to new highs on the S&P. I also believe the same thing is also true for NASDAQ. Let's take a look at NASDAQ. We've been watching this. NASDAQ hasn't made new highs yet, but very similar. We've just been seeing a lot of zigzags here. Lots and lots of zigzags. Again, from the top, ABC, 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 and then again, what we're looking at right now, more than likely, is an A getting that B, and then we're going to go up for the C, which is likely going to take us to new highs, which would also more than likely signify a bit of a top for NASDAQ as well. So again, 12-hour, very overbought. We're starting to see signs of some hidden bearish divergence on NASDAQ. Not a whole lot of great plays this week. NASDAQ actually has been performing much more poorly than the S&P has. Got a lot of people are going to be looking at this. They're going to say, yep, that's an inverted head and shoulders. And I mean, that's very, very possible. You take a look at this. I can't ignore it. We have our left shoulder, our head. You've got your right shoulder right here. And then what do you have right here? You basically have a neckline right there. And then basically you're going to be looking for a push up to new highs there. Is that going to happen? I guess on the hourly, I do see some bullish divergence, but it's very likely that has already played out. So just be very, very careful with that. You really need a break above that neckline at about 16,562 on futures, right? Which is actually going to be higher on the actual index itself for us to see a move higher. Target for that, let me just go ahead and measure it from the top of the head to the neckline. And we're going to get our measured move on here. That puts our target at 16,750, which again, that is also a level, if I remember correctly, that we have been paying attention. Yeah, basically that would put us at a double top, which is basically where we were at back on November 22nd, which was the top of the channel, by the way. Okay, so that is NASDAQ. I've talked about Bitcoin. I've talked about the S&P. I've talked about NASDAQ. So let's get into the stocks. Got a lot of stocks that I want to take a look at today. Let's first start with Oracle. So we're currently in a trade on Oracle. We got into this trade on Oracle back here in this area. It looks really, really, really good, especially at this level. Couple things that I will make note of. I'm going to increase our indicator here, which I'm actually very close to releasing the new update for the indicator. So if you have the indicator, I've been promising an update for a few weeks now, and I do believe it's actually almost ready. But we have been creating some bullish divergence here. The 3 hour is just kind of moving sideways. The daily is moving down. I actually don't have the weekly on here. Let's throw the weekly on here as well. Let's turn off that mode. So we've got the weekly. It's just kind of hanging out. But with everything down here, I have to believe that since we are at this support level, right, we're at a very critical support level. You can see right here, this level here, which was support, this level here was both support and resistance. And moving back, again, we've got some clustering right here in this level. I expect, and if let's see if I've got volume profile on here. I don't know if I've got it. Let me add volume profile. Point of control is actually above where we're at, which is really quite well. Okay, it depends on how far back you go, to be honest. But you could argue that that point of control is just asking to be overtaken. That's basically at $90. Is Oracle going to get to 90 by tomorrow? More than likely, probably not. I think it's going to take a little bit of time. But I do believe that the way that this is falling, it's not falling off a cliff like it did back here, but it looks like it is at an area where it's likely going to find a bounce. So do I like Oracle here? Yes, I do. I do like Oracle here. I think Oracle looks great. I'm going to turn off volume profile. I think Oracle looks great in this particular area. I would be actually looking to get maybe some equity with a reasonable stop loss on this. But I'm not telling you what to do. This is not financial advice. This is just my thoughts and my ideas on what the market actually looks like right now. So that's my thought on Oracle. I'm going to continue moving into Moderna. Moderna looks really, really pretty good. So yesterday we had basically the 1 hour, the 3 hour, and the daily all in oversold all at the same time. Moderna looks pretty good. It had a good strong open. It's getting a little bit of a pullback today. All in all, it looks pretty decent, right? Again, we hit this level here. Where we had some support, a good bounce off the support. We came back and we retested that same support level, and we were getting a buy all at the same time that Moderna was getting that retest. So this looks really good. Not really interested in putting an Elliott wave on this. You can see that I've been looking at Moderna for quite some time now. This is the latest trade. We pulled 22% off that back in early November, but this does look like it is the completion of a correction. Then we've got a nice little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then potential for an ABC correction here, which should lead us to higher prices and really upside target for this. And the timing is always going to be what throws people off. But if Moderna is going to bounce at this level, the target for this is actually going to be somewhere along the lines of basically exactly $600. That's really what the algo is targeted. And that might seem far-fetched, but that would also be a more longer-term play. We would be looking probably for the better part of a year for it to get there. So you'd have to have that patience in order to do that. Currently at 246 right now. Potential for a move up to 600, which would basically be over 100% over the course of a year. On a small amount of risk, I would consider that, buying a few shares of Moderna. Basically having a stop loss on the other side of $200, or maybe 210, right? Because if we break down below this level right here, well, then we basically, again, looking left, we've got some of these other levels back here to pay attention to, which is going to be down here about 145. I wouldn't want to hold all the way to 145. This level would be likely the next area right here, about 192. And then, of course, this level right here is important. And then we've got this level, which is also important as well. To pay attention to. But again, we break down below one, more than likely it's going to go to the next. We break that one, more than likely it's going to go to the next. Now, to the upside, what's our important levels on Moderna? This level right here is extremely important. And that's at 295. We've got support here, we've got support here. When we broke down here, it broke down right at that level, and then it pushed down, right? We had a little bit of support here before it broke down. And then look at the wick that we had here. This was not that long ago. The wick that we had at that, well, I guess it's not a wick, but basically it broke up. If I went to maybe a 4-hour time frame, that would be an absolute wick for sure. Rejection down to this level, then a slow bleed. Okay, so that level right there, 295, is extremely important. So that's my thoughts on Moderna. As far as moving averages go, let's go ahead and take a look at that. And this is on the hourly. We're currently above the 21 exponential on the hourly. We got that rejection off the 55. Let's move to a 4-hour time frame here. We're basically below all major moving averages, and they all really look pretty bad. But mean reversion, a move back up here to the 200, which, as you can see on the 4-hour, we were riding back here before it finally did break down. Push up, and it broke down. And more than likely, we're going to get some mean reversion, which is going to take us up to about 336. I think that's probably likely. It's probably what's going to happen at 336. Yeah, I'm not really seeing any important moving averages in that particular level on the hourly. So that's what we've got here. Let's keep on moving. Nike. Nike had some good movement just a few days ago. They had earnings. They also announced that they're going to be kind of acquiring a gaming company to try and get into to some NFTs. You're going to see everybody trying to get into that space. But it just so happens the day before earnings, what did we have? We had the 1-hour, the 3-hour, and the daily, all in oversold, all at the same time, which is prime for a buy. And what happened the very next day? It had a big move up. And that had nothing to do with any fundamentals of the company, had nothing to do with earnings. It's really just a matter of just waiting for the right setup, and basically had a big move up. Now, naturally, we had a buyback here, which didn't work out, probably would have gotten stopped out. You could have reattempted back here, and then we had that big move up, and it actually went above the buy that we had back here. So all in all, that was really a great buy. Nike looks good. It's above all major moving averages on the hourly. Let's take a look at the 4-hour. What does the 4-hour look like? We're above all major moving averages on the 4-hour, and that 21 exponential sharp move up. So this looks good. Let's take a look at Nike on the daily. The daily above all major moving averages. We were below the 55. We were below the 100. We almost hit the 200 exponential on the daily. And big move up. Now we are above all major moving averages, which are still in a bullish formation. The 21 was moving down, but is now getting to that point where it's moving up. We're riding the 21 exponential right now. As long as we can stay above, about 166, I think we're good. And that level, 166, if you look left, we've got a little bit of clustering here. We've got support here. And you can see this was important resistance when we had that day after earnings. But now we are currently trading above that level, which is bullish. It's naturally bullish. You have to be bullish when you see something like that happen. Okay, that was Nike. Let's go to Shopify. We've been talking about Shopify for a while. We were basically, around 1400. And I said, hey, if we make it above 1410, we're going to go to 1430. We broke 1410, we broke 1420, we hit 1430, now we're at 1424. So we hit that level, which happens to be the 200 exponential on the hourly on Shopify. Okay, so let's just take a look at this, because this is really important. So first off, I've got to give my plug here. We basically had the 1-hour, the 3-hour, and the 12-hour all in oversold all at the same time. We even had a decent buyback here, which respectively, we had the buy right here. We had the buy right here. You even had kind of a buy signal right here in this level. All of these were below $1,300, or right around $1,300. And now we're at 1423. So that's a significant move up, just looking at just the indicator, waiting for the 1-hour, the 3-hour, and the 12-hour all to get oversold all at the same time. I keep repeating myself because I know there are people that are listening that have the indicator, and you need to hear that. The human mind needs to hear something X amount of times. I think it's like 7 times before you remember it. But I want you to really remember that. But key here on Shopify, the 200 exponential has been suppressed repeatedly. If we can close a daily above the 200 exponential on the hourly, which right now is sitting right here at about 1430, 1431, that level right there. Let's go to the daily and see what it looks like here. All right, that level. And you can see here, we've been suppressed by the 21 exponential on the daily, which is very similar to the 200 exponential on the hourly. If we can close above that, that is very bullish. That is very bullish. And we're trying right now. So is there a really great buy on Shopify right now? No, it's just scalps from what I can see. I can see just really scalps to take. But unless you bought back here, I wouldn't be buying up here. I don't see a really great trade setup on Shopify right now. So let's keep on going. Let's keep on going. Let's go to Roku. Roku is so disappointing. It really is. It really is disappointing. So to be honest, this formation right here, you've got some bullish divergence on some higher time frames. We've got the weekly, which is trying to cross bullish. More than likely, we're going to see a breakout to the upside on Shopify. But looking at this, you've got levels to pay attention to, and I'm just going to focus on the higher time frames on this guy because it's just very, very disappointing. This level right here is important. This level right here is also going to be important. If we can break up above 241, we're going to go to 272. If we can break up above 272, we're going to get 295. If we break up above 295, more than likely we're going to, I'm kind of struggling with this level right here. It's probably this level right here, which is going to be 325. Yeah, 300 is a psychological number, but 295 is key. That key level is going to be 295. And again, if you look left, you can see where I'm basing all these pivots on. I'm on the 4-hour time frame. If we break up above that, obvious level is going to be this one right here at 350. Yes, it's psychological, but it's also a key level. Look at this resistance here, this support here for days, this resistance here for days, clustering here for days, and then we had some resistance here. You see, we had a big push up, and then we had the retest of these key levels before we pushed up higher. And I could just continue this, but I'm not going to waste a lot of time talking through these guys because you get the idea. These are the key levels on Shopify moving forward. Those are the key levels, and we'll keep an eye on those. Maybe there will be some shorter term trades to take, maybe some day trading swings, but for right now, yeah, we've got a bullish cross on the daily. We've got the weekly, which is bullish as well, which is unlike Shopify, right? So going to Shopify, the weekly on Shopify is heavily bearish, but we're getting a good move up. But at least on this guy, on Roku, we actually have a bullish cross on the weekly. And this happened back here. Bullish cross right here. And this was back at about $205 on Roku. It's currently at $232. That's a significant price increase. That's 12%. But what we actually had, about 27% to the upside when we had that bullish cross on the weekly. Yes, it did pull back and it actually went lower. Probably stopped some people out because a lot of people are probably looking at this level right here saying, all right, well, I'm going to get a trade here and that's going to be my stop loss. What happened? You got stopped and it went back up. And it's probably going to continue going up now. It's above the 200 simple on the hourly. It's currently below the 200 exponential on the hourly. But I actually think that it's probably going to recover a bit. The 3-hour has been kind of coming back. If this gets down here into oversold, I think that's a good buy. That's a good buy, more than likely, at least short term. Let's keep on going. Let's take a look at Zoom. Zoom, let's see here. Actually, this looks pretty good. We had the 1-hour, the 3-hour, and the 12-hour all in oversold back here. This was back at about 180. Yeah, we kind of came back down. You had another opportunity to buy when you had the 1-hour, the 3-hour, and the 12-hour, which is all oversold back here at about 175, 176. Currently at 188. What this looks to me, this looks like a completed impulse and a pullback. So the upside target for Zoom actually is going to be about 234 before it goes up to about 275. Yeah, Zoom actually looks okay back here. Again, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about the support and resistance levels, but these are the levels that I would be paying most attention to, which, your take profits are going to be, right in the middle of all of these if you're planning on taking a trade on Zoom based on an indicator. Okay, let's see here. I want to take a look at Tesla and Target, and So Tesla, we are approaching channel resistance. If Tesla can break out of this channel, it's going to go to $1,200. It's going to go probably even higher than that. I think that's a good amount of probability that we've got, again, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the 1, ABC into the 2, right? Then we've got a nice little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into 3, ABC into the 4. We've got a small 2, we've got a big 4. Laws of alternation. So more than likely, this is going to see higher prices. And what's the target? Well, I'm going to measure from the bottom to the top of wave 1, and I'm going to project it from wave 4, and then we've got our 1618, which is going to be right here at about $1,400. And if it breaks that, it's going to go to maybe $1,700 to $1,800 if it breaks up above those. If we get a nice extension on Tesla, which is possible because Tesla, I think, is actually going to be one of those few auto manufacturers, and I apologize if you're a Rivian fan, but Rivian is not going to do fantastic this year. I think Tesla will, because they're getting the EV tax credit back next year, and they're ramping up production. And I know I'm not a fundamentals guy. I kind of feel like a troll for even saying this. I feel dirty, and I need to go take a shower after I say this, but they're going to be able to deliver. They're going to be able to get the tax, buyers are going to be able to get the tax credit, which is going to increase demand, and they're working on increasing production, which that to me is a huge win. And maybe that's priced in. So be very cautious. But if we can break above this channel that we're currently in, I think it opens up the door for those higher prices. I'm not saying that we're absolutely going to go there, but it opens the door shorter term for a move up to those prices. All right, let's take a look at Target. Target's had a really good move up. And honestly, I believe Walmart has as well. We can take a look at that. But again, back here, what do we have? We've got the 1 hour, the 3 hour, and the 12 hour all in oversold all at the same time. Now, the weekly doesn't look great. Weekly on this looks like the weekly on Shopify, right? Weekly looks pretty bad, which means I have to be a little cautious. I do have to be cautious. So from the top here to the bottom here, we get this pullback. We hit, we hit that corrective target perfectly for an expanded flat, which would make this the A, this the B, this the C. Honestly, this looks really good. I have to be honest. This looks like a good move, which means that we're probably going to get something like this from the bottom, a nice 1, 2, working on that 3, we get the 4, and we go up for the 5. Once we get up to 240, it's probably going to pull back. That pullback is going to be for buying. I'm telling you. Because when that happens, right? So if we do get something like this where we come back down, we get that high, and then we get the correction, this right here is going to give this weekly time to continue and reset, and that's going to set us up for a move to new highs. I don't know what Target has in store for next year, but it's very possible once we get that correction that we're going to see a move up higher on Target. So again, I don't know what Target's going to do next year. Retail is, to me, very iffy because a lot of people are fleeing to Amazon for all of their buying. But Walmart, Target, they need to do something innovative. And I know that there are very smart people that are working on that innovation, but the chart is telling me we're probably going to make it a little bit more of a high, maybe up to 240. We're going to get a pullback, and that pullback is going to be when that weekly resets. It's going to be when the 1 hour and the 3 hour are going to also get to the point where they are reset. We'll see what the daily looks like then, but it looks decent. All right, so before I close things out, let's take a look and see what Bitcoin has been doing since we started. Bitcoin is a little bit, it's moving up a little bit. We've got a little bit of a bullish engulfing candle. We've been talking here for 40 minutes, and so basically this candle, bullish engulfing potentially. We've got 16 minutes left on the candle. You've got this 12 hour, which is lower than it's been for a long time, even back here. And you know what? Looks good. We didn't make a new low compared to these lows back here, but the 12 hour did. The 12 hour did. That is, by definition, hidden bullish divergence. That is hidden bullish divergence. Let's see on the MACD what we've got here. So let's just go ahead and zoom over this way, zoom in. I'm actually going to go to the 12-hour because I want to see if there's hidden bullish divergence on this. It's very pronounced. We went down very, very low here compared to these lows back here, where we were basically in positive territory. So this looks good. Yeah, I have to be cautiously optimistic with Bitcoin right now, which means I also, by nature, have to be cautiously optimistic in equities as well. Thoughts on apps? I can take a look at apps here. Oh, Digital Turbine. All right, all right. Let's look here. Let me go to the hourly. Chart looks, it looks like it's just consolidating. Let me go to my other chart over here that has my moving averages. The weekly looks really good on apps, actually. If we can get that bullish cross, I think that's probably a good play. It basically had been calling buys this entire time as the weekly was pushing the price further and further down. Eventually it got to that point where it was starting to cross bullish. It moved out of the bearish control zone into the bullish control, or the neutral zone rather, when it had obviously moved up, right? So a lot of times indicators are lagging, but we try and use them to kind of predict future price movements. We've got no bullish divergence or hidden bullish divergence that I can see here. I don't see any hidden bearish divergence or anything like that. No bearish divergence either. So chart looks pretty constructive. Move to the upside from the lows. Let's just see if we are hitting a corrective target on this move right there. And yeah, no, this looks good. I think we're going to get that target up there at about $75. Ultimately, I do think it's going to go up to 96. I think it's going to take time. I wouldn't try and time the market. If you want to play options, you need to buy time. But I do think it's probably going to go there. I think it's just going to take some time. You have to be very careful because if you play options and you're looking for a $96 target, you're going to be paying a lot for that, which means you actually need more than $96 to get there. So you have to be cautious with that because it could take a long time to get there, and your options premiums are likely going to get destroyed. So be very careful playing options on something like this. But the weekly looks good. Potentially, you could get a good spread on this to target something like 90, maybe 75. And if it goes above 75, well, then there you go. You can roll it to the 90. That's one way that you could take a trade like that. All right. I think that's all I've got for right now. We do still have the New Year's special. We've got several new members on the Discord, so I just kind of want to welcome everybody that's brand new. But we do have, for brand new members, we have a promo code that you can use on Insured Membership New Year 2022. If you need access to our Discord, if you need access to the indicator, if you need access to our educational material, you can find all of that information on BitDoctor.org. And of course, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day, a good night, and a good evening. Take care, everyone.